songs like Electricity, I think, got written in 1991. Took till 94 for it to come out. But I'd been building up a reasonable amount, and then I had this week in my life that was very dramatic. And I wrote 7 songs in 7 days, 1 a day for a week, and that put a lot of the body into Electricity, because suddenly there's a whole chunk more, you know. And so there it was, a bit more. The 7 songs that got written in 7 days had a few of some of the sort of more, do you want to have a baby? Baby, no, damn it. Those kind of ones. Some of those were done at that point. So I guess the bile element of the album kind of intensified during that period. But it was never intended to be the same as Last Great Challenge, if there was any intention at all. And by that point I got the electric piano, and the sound changed as well, because I finally had a piano that I could play live that would sound okay. And so suddenly that album just sort of, it went from coming along to suddenly wham, it was finished, just there it was. A bit of a sprawling mass really, but whatever. And Ajax were happy to put it out, and there was an audience there who were prepared to buy it, and Rathmon did a vinyl run as well, so away we went, back to the States and then back to Europe. And after a short spell doing IMD records here in Dunedin, Jeff Columbus's label, which lasted for a little while and was good, but didn't last very long. But we got the 2 Foot Flame album done. Me and Gene Smith and Michael Morley joined in. And that was an experience too, because most of the 2 Foot Flame album was jammed straight to tape. There wasn't much songwriting done. Plenty of people would say, yeah, we can tell, you know, it's like, because it copped a bit of flack. But, and we offered it to IMD and they didn't want it, you know. So at that point IMD fired me as well, and Gene and Dave said, well, why don't you come on our tour? You can open for us. They had a tour booked, I had nothing else I was going to be doing at this point. And we had the 2 Foot Flame album that IMD didn't want, and I had 6 days to make up my mind, so I stored all my stuff at Stephen Kilroy's. Thank you, Stephen. I said I'd be away for a few weeks. It ended up being ages, a year, I think, or something. But so it all got stored at Fish Street, and I went and did it. And to be fair, on IMD, they had at least let us have the master of the 2 Foot Flame album that they didn't want. At one point there was a bit of debate whether we'd be allowed it or not, but they got about it in the end. So I'm not trying to bag them, but you know, we offered it to Matador, and I guess at that point Matador was probably the biggest indie label in America, making it kind of the biggest in the world, I would guess. Certainly a real major indie label. If such a thing as a major indie label cannot be a complete contradiction. And Matador said yes, they took it. So it's like, right, well, I don't need to go back to New Zealand now. If I'm a Matador, Matador were good payers. They were going to press more copies of it than we'd normally get. They're also in an incredible position because I think they just switched from Atlantic to Warner's, backing them, and Warner's bought into Matador for a 49% share. There was millions and millions. And they had the money, and they were in a position, as they said, to take on some more kind of like left field bands that maybe they wouldn't normally have been able to have on the label, but right now they could, and they wanted to. And yeah, 2 Foot Flame, they accepted it, they took it. And so between that and my deal with Ajax, which eventually turned into a deal with Emperor Jones when Ajax stopped, and the reissues coming out, and good advances from Matador and tour support and stuff from Matador, it's like we could do it. I could go over there and live as a musician. Me and Gene got an apartment because by then we were an item, and off I went and lived in Canada. It was a nice balance for me because it's British Columbia, so I felt my weird rounded Kiwi accent wasn't quite as clumsy there as what it is in the States. It was a nice balance between being faster than New Zealand but not quite as fast as America. So if you're going to live there, a New Zealander like myself, kind of, you could wind up to 60 or 70% speed instead of 100%. And I had my thing going on with Jean as well, so it was, you know, a really, really creative, good, wonderful time in many ways. Mega Normal allowed me to join their band as a sort of low-key drummer, not a whole drum kit, but sort of more like a percussion-y drummer, you know. 2 Foot Flame, Michael Morley, Matador put up some money. He came over, we did a tour. We managed to record the 2nd album on the road. Another advance for that. Matador were always good payers, including when Cat Power covered Human Carbone. You know, I bought my car with the money from that. Second-hand car, not a new car, but it was a really good payment to get. I've been very lucky with record labels. I don't know if I'm diversifying, you know, diverging off the trail now, but you hear a lot of crap about record labels, but apart from my difficulties with Flying Nun during the 80s, apart from that, I never really had trouble with record labels. Always got treated really honestly and fairly, was really supported, and was really allowed to do whatever I wanted to do, even the stuff that people were sort of like, oh, I don't know about that, but they'd still let you do it. You never got told. No one said, oh, don't hear a hit single on it, mate, I'm afraid we can't do it. You know, you better go away and write something that sounds catchy. Never had to deal with that. Very lucky.